you're looking for. Welcome to the Let's Talk Cabling podcast with Chuck Bowser, RCDD. Well, seeing how we're pulling Category 6A, the most powerful twisted pair in the world, you got to ask yourself this one question. Did I pull 295 or 300 feet? Well, do you feel lucky? Do you, punk? What exactly does RCDD stand for? Registered Communications Distribution Designer. Just the expert you need to ensure your cable plant performs exactly as designed. The elite professional, knowledgeable, and experienced in leading-edge ICT design principles. Now, send the new guy to the truck for a bucket of dial tone and the cable stretchers, while you listen to an informative program on telecommunications.
Thursday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That can only mean one thing. Time for Ask Chuck Bowser RCDD. After Hours Live, where you could ask your favorite ICT design, installation, certification, estimation, project management, and career path questions. We answer all those. Answer all of those. Live on TikTok, live on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, eventually Instagram. I'll get around to it. I keep forgetting to do it when I'm not doing my normal stuff. So first thing, you know what we always do. What are you drinking? What are you drinking? Chuck is drinking eggnog because it's Christmas. Eggnog. I can neither confirm nor deny that this might be spiked. Okay? Eggnog. Make sure you tell us in the comments, what are you drinking tonight? I love that stuff. Love that stuff. Now, before we get too much further along, sorry about that. Shots is in the house. Oh, no, shot. That's Shooter 305. Yes, thank you for reminding me about that. Tomorrow night, 6 p.m. at the Courtyard on 730 North Magnolia, 750 North Magnolia, something like that. Live meetup. Meet me at 6 o'clock. I will be giving away podcast stickers, which includes podcast sticker, Knowledge is Power sticker, and another Knowledge is Power sticker. I'll even do a raffle. I might be giving away U-Hand tools. Might even give away Oregon threaded tool. I don't know. We'll just see. I don't have any more shirts to give away. I gave away them all last meeting. So doing fit. Ed, the old tech guy. Hello, Ed. How you doing, my friend? So make sure you meet me at the live meetup tomorrow night if you're in the Orlando area. Jacksonville is planned for in January. And then also Miami is planned in January. So, and I will have somebody with me, a special guest. He's been on the show before. He's probably going to run the camera for me, take pictures and stuff. It's going to be a good time. Going to be a good time. Now, you know, since a lot of people jumped in late, what are you drinking? I'm going to do this again. What are you drinking? I'm drinking eggnog because it's Christmas. And again, I can neither confirm nor deny if it is spiked. I don't know. You just got to figure it out, right? Hey, speaking of which, came across a really cool live stream last night. Ed, the old tech guy. And you should check him out. The guy is absolutely brilliant, man, when it comes to equipment. He's going to help me set up my server when I finally get it, and I put it in my rack right there. He's going to help me with all that fun stuff. Yes. Love it. Love it. Oh, the QR code. I knew I was forgetting something. I always forget something, right? Hey, give me a break. It's Christmas week. Technically, I'm on vacation. Yes, until January, the Monday after New Year's. So I'm off for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. By the way, you know, the show's free and will always remain free. But if you don't mind, make sure you click on that QR code right there. Make sure you can buy me a cup of coffee. You can schedule 15 minutes with me one-on-one. After hours, of course. It's just a way you can support the show. If you don't want to support the show financially, do me a favor and share the show with somebody. Tell somebody about it. Say, look, you need to check this out. you need to check this show out, right? Or give me a 5-star rating or like and subscribe on YouTube. All those things helps us with this. Because remember, our intent is to educate, encourage, and enrich the lives of people in the ICT industry. My goal is about giving away all this knowledge. Give it away, because it doesn't cost me nothing to give it away. And you know what? If I can make your job a little bit easier at the same time, help you learn from my mistakes so you don't make the same mistakes or you go further than me, dude, I'm all okay with that. I am all okay with that. I really, really am. So, excuse me. Next thing you know, we always do is the acronym challenge. The acronym challenge. Today's acronym is FD. FD. What does that acronym stand for? Come on, peeps. Where's my TikTok peeps? What does FD stand for? If you know what FD stands for, put it in the show notes, right? Put it in the show notes. Going once, going twice. The correct answer is floor distributor. Floor distributor. Henry, you're that close. You're just so close, my friend. Yes, floor distributor. What is a floor distributor? It's basically the international equivalent to the horizontal cross connect. That's what it is. That's what they call it in the ISO IEC 11801 standard. Oh, you know what? Hey, it's Christmas. Guess what Chuck bought himself for Christmas? No, I know you're thinking a new fusion splicer, right? No, I don't have $5,000 to drop on a fusion splicer. But if UCL Swift or American Insultech is listening, I will be happy to take a fusion splicer and take it with me to my live meetups and stuff and teach people how to use it. I'd be happy to do that. I'm doing it now anyway. It'd be nice if I had the equipment. No, that's not what I got myself. I bought myself the 2023 edition of the NEC. Yay, new code book. Yes. You're not excited? Come on now. You know, if you're going to come to me with code questions, I need to have the right answer. Let's talk about the motivational minute. Now, this one is an old Chinese proverb, and I like this one. It says the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now, right? I'll say that again, right? The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. What does that mean? It means don't procrastinate. I procrastinate. I'm huge with that, right? And then we at some point realize, oh man, we're procrastinating. When you realize that, then do it then. That's what that means. Hey, did you catch last week's show? I interviewed Blake Ermos. We talked about fiber optic training through the FOA. He got his certified fiber optic technician certification. We talked about that class. We talked about the meetup and the free scholarship thing they had. And oh, by the way, if you're listening to this in the Atlanta area, Marietta to be precise, there's going to be another FOA course there taught by my good friend Lee Renfro. So make sure you check that out. Great certification to have. You can never have too many certifications, right? Next thing, I'm still on my journey to 1,000. There goes my puppies. Still on my journey to 1,000 subscribers. When I looked earlier this morning, I was at 967. 967. Oh, I am so close. Please help me get to 1,000. If you know somebody's not already a sub, please recommend the show to them if they think they would benefit. Okay. And then also, I want to point this out as well. This next week is Christmas, right? The week after that's New Year's, right? There will be no live after hours the next 2 weeks. That doesn't mean there won't be content. There'll be no after hours live. I'm debating whether I want to rebroadcast a couple shows. There's one that I did over a year ago on Trunk Slammers. I'm thinking about rebroadcasting that one because that's a good show. And then there's another one too I'm thinking about rebroadcasting. Let me know in the chat box. If I rebroadcast those, would that be something you would be interested in? Because if it is, I'll do it. If not, I won't, right? I won't. So somebody asked a great question here before I get too far along. How often is the NEC revised? The CEC is revised every 3 years for a new edition. The NEC is the same, although I think the NEC and the CEC are on different years. What's the latest one for the CEC, Michael? The 2023 is the latest for the NEC. So it's revised every 3 years. Now, just because it's revised every 3 years doesn't mean it goes into effect. See, I was teaching a class just the other day, and I read this right out of the code book. The code book is considered advisory as far as the NFPA is concerned until it's adopted by the local authority having jurisdiction. Once it's adopted by them, then it becomes law, right? So when you look at the map of the NEC, there's only, I think, when I looked at the map just at the beginning of this week, there's only 27 states. Again, this is the U.S. The only 27 states that are operating out of the 2020 code book. So now that the 2023 got published in November, you'll start seeing the 2023 pop up. It seems to me about 3 to 4 states a month pop up for as far as adopting the new code book. Very good. Henry says a splice trailer. Oh, that would be cool, wouldn't it? I could do a splice trailer and go around and do my live meetups. I got a truck to pull it. I got an F-350, right? I got an F-350. Yep. Oh, Michael says they are currently in the 2021. I thought the NEC and the CEC was off a little bit there. I thought I remember reading it somewhere before. So I would love to have that splice trailer, by the way. So just saying. Now, let's see. Before we get too much further along, let's go and answer this question here from TikTok. Question: what information do you have to give a customer when finishing a project? Oh, that is a great question. So the first answer to that's going to be, what are you contractually obligated to provide that customer? Okay. Let's assume that there's nothing in the contract that says they want any kind of project closeout documents. At minimum, I would do a final walkthrough with them and document that they agree that everything's perfect and fine and sign off on that. I would also give them a copy of the test results. I've had this conversation many times, right? Do you certify cable or not certify cable? Yes, you always certify cable. Whether you charge to deliver it or not, it's a different story, but you should always certify it. So at minimum, you want to do a final walkthrough, and at minimum, give them the test results. Now, some customers in their contracts are going to stipulate that you have to give them as-bills and red lines. So whatever your contractor is obligated to do, give it to them. But again, at least the test results. And the key thing is get them to sign off that they accept the project as being 100% complete to their satisfaction. That way you can get paid. Okay. That way you can get paid. Great question, by the way. Who asked me that? I can't read it. The print's too small. Now, the next one I have is I want to talk about a comment that I got on my TikTok feed a couple of days back, 3, 4, 5 days back. And I made a comment. I did a post about training or something or another. And Tyler Alarms, he responded to me on Instagram. And he said, your average contractor is not teaching the new guys anymore. The average technician is not even trying to educate themselves. LOL. Just do what the boss says. And as long as that's fine, who cares? Now, there is a lot of truth in that statement. A lot of truth in that statement. You know, if a company doesn't invest in its most valuable resource, the employees, it's doomed, I tell you, to eventually fail. So what are some of the benefits of training your staff? You know, when the economy takes a downturn, like we're currently getting ready to hit or already hitting, depending on your point of view, the first thing most companies get rid of is training when they need it the most. They need it the most. That's when you need your staff to work uniformly and efficiently the most. but yet that's when they typically are going to get rid of it. So companies that do training, number one, it's going to improve the skills and the knowledge of their technicians, right? Of their technicians. They're going to get the job done quicker. They're going to be more competitive when they go to bid out that kind of stuff. And that makes the price a little bit cheaper, right? So being more efficient at your job. It's also going to make sure it helps that your technicians can help resolve difficult situations on their own instead of having to reach out to a supervisor. Because when you reach out to somebody, the number one, it disrupts what they're doing, and then they got to go back to what they're doing. It's just a disruption to everybody. So if you train your people, they're able to handle those tough situations. It's also, by training, is a great foundation for greater responsibilities, right? Employees will make more money, and the company gets to charge more money for those employees to make more money. So it's a good thing all around. But not all employees are motivated by money. We were talking about this just the other day. Some technicians, yeah, everybody wants to earn a reasonable wage and be able to pay for their family, right? But some technicians, to them, more important than money is recognition. And yet that's the easiest and the simplest thing that you can do. All you got to do is when you go out is show that you care. Technicians want people to come out and look at their jobs, and they want them to look at them and say, great job. But yet it's one of the most things that we often miss. It's a huge opportunity. And what does it cost? What does it cost to recognize a stellar employee? And we miss that opportunity. Some technicians like to have titles, right? They want to be the senior technician inside plant, blah, 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 blah. Okay, give them a title. And some technicians value certificates, it's training. I gotta admit, I'm kind of one of those. I love accruing certificates. I just do, right? And when you give your technicians training, it shows that employee that they are valued. Again, that really helps build in the cohesiveness of a team that feels like they have ownership in their decisions, ownership in the direction of the company. They feel like they're a part of a team, right? You know, there's a quote out there. It's a tribute to Peter Drucker. I'm not sure if he's the one who actually said it or not. I've seen it in memes before, but it says is, if you think training is expensive, try ignorance. Yeah. If you think training is expensive, try ignorance. Again, in the tough economic times like we're often facing right now, again, training is cut out first. And I've never understood it. And the reason for that is because it's hard to calculate the soft cost of benefits of a training program. You know, if you go out and get a brand new a tester, and that tester tests cables, you know, in half the time of the test that you have now, that's easy to calculate. You do that, you figure out what that number is, multiply by the number of cables you test, by your labor rate, and you say, well, look, we save X amount of dollars. Training is not that easy. The soft cost of benefits is really hard to calculate. And training doesn't always have to be expensive. You don't always have to send somebody out to go to a training course, right? You don't. Somebody's asking to join. Catch me after this. I'm right in the middle on a roll here, so I'm going to close that, decline that. There we go. It's not always expensive. Training doesn't have to be expensive. Probably the simplest training is OJT, on the job training. You know, kind of like the kind of training when somebody first comes on board, right? And we're training them in the processes. We might be training them in the stuff that they're doing, right? Why not continue that? And one of my biggest pet peeves, cross-training. Now, how does that show up? Every once in a while, take somebody from the office and let them run with a crew for a week. Take somebody off the crew for a week and put them in the office. So that way you understand the challenges that each of those other people have, right? Oh, that's great. Daryl says, leaders train, bosses refuse to. Love that, right? Another way you can cross-train, there's a big divide between copper technicians and fiber technicians, right? Why not cross-train them? When the copper crew is running slow, send one guy into the office and the other guy to run with the fiber crew. If the fiber team's slow, break them up. Put one guy with the copper crew, put one guy in the office. Have one guy run with a project manager. Have one guy run with an estimate. Cross train. All it really costs a company is the salary. It's not like you're paying $2,000 for a class and then travel for someone to go there. It's cross train. It's one of the easiest ways. Another cheap way of training is mentoring. Mentoring. Now, mentoring can be as little as an hour a week or an hour a month. You can create your own mentoring program. There's lots of books out there to teach you how to do that. Or better yet, Bixie has a phenomenal mentoring program. Join it. Join it. You can do in-house training, right? You can hold a voluntary training event once a month. Say, look, come on in on a Friday afternoon, Friday after work, a Saturday, whatever, and I'm going to teach everybody how to terminate fusion splicing. I'm going to teach everybody how to do a 66 block, 110 block, whatever. But you pick it. And then if you have problems getting people, give them incentives. Look, if you come in on a voluntary training day and you attend all four, you'll get an extra whatever percentage bonus. You'll get an extra percentage jump in your next pay raise, right? I did a project in Memphis, Tennessee. It was a call center. Went down there. I don't remember how many seats it was. It was a ton of seats. I've talked about this call center before. So when I got there, we were determining all the voice cabling was going to be terminated on 66 blocks. And there was 3 or 4 people on the crew who never terminated a 66 block before. So what I did was one day after work I found an old cable spool, one of the big riser spools. It was 5 feet tall. And I brought it over to the trailer, I stood it up, I mounted some 66 blocks, and I taught them how to terminate a 66 block. Again, nothing but time. You can even do personal study, right? Give them a copy of if somebody's going to be doing estimating or something, give them a copy of the Telecom Distributions Methods Manual. It doesn't. If you got one floating around the office, that's fine. You don't have to go buy them one. If they're a technician, give them a copy of the ITSM manual. If they want to be in project management, give them a copy of the Bixie's project management manual, right? Now, here's the thing, though. You don't just give them the book. You got to put some structure around that, right? You got to give some structure, right? So you got to tell them, look, you got to read through this, and you got to be done reading it by whatever date. You pick the date. You know your schedule better than I do. You got to get it done by this time. And then when you get done, then there'll be a short little exam. A friend of mine, who I know through Low Voltage Nation, has a contracting company up in Pennsylvania, is doing this exact thing with one of his employees, right? And you don't have to necessarily pick between any one of those. You can do a blended training program, right? Combine all of them. I mentioned many times, my brother also works in communications. He works for Vision Technologies. Vision Technologies, they got it right. They got it down pat. They train their people. They got a Bixie certified lab. Kirk, I know him personally, although I've never met him face to face, but we've communicated many, many times. They value training for this very reason, right? Now, there's a lot of great benefits when it comes to training employees. As I mentioned earlier, it's going to increase productivity. It's going to increase performance, right? And that's going to make you more competitive for bids. That's easy to do. But another benefit is it's going to give you uniformity of work processes. If everybody's doing the same work the same way, that means when a crew comes over to help another crew, they can get up to speed efficiently and quickly because they know the process. And you only get this by training, right? It's going to reduce wastage on projects, right? That means less waste. It means more profits. It's going to reduce the supervision. Oh, that's a great one right there. You can have one supervisor to more employees, and it will also boost the morale of your people. Okay. The technician who doesn't invest in themselves will not progress in their career, period. And that's just the name of that one. The next question, this one comes from a question from last week, and I am totally sorry, but I forgot who it was that sent me this question. Last week I did that. I invited everybody on, right? And a couple of people came on, and one of the guys who came on was asking me a question about how to calculate the number of sleeves that a building is going to need, right? And if for those who are following along in your TDMMs, this information is found on 4-44 in the TDMM, the new TDMM, for page 411 on the PDFs, right? Daryl says, I'm always training, and to those that refuse it are the slowest to advance. Oh, true. Here's another one. I forgot to mention this. When you train somebody, it makes you sharper because you learn from training. It reminds you of things that you might have forgotten. So there's benefits to training as well. It's not just a benefit just to the trainee. It's also a benefit to the trainer. Okay. All right. That's enough training. Let's get on to the next one. Anyway, so the question was asked about how to determine how many sleeves to put in a building. So the TDMM tells us to start off with a minimum of 4 103 millimeter or 4 trade size sleeves as a starting point, and then add 1 sleeve for each 40,000 feet of usable square footage. So if you got a building that's 40,000 square feet, that's going to be 4 sleeves plus 1. If it's 40,000 to 80,000, that's going to be 4 sleeves plus 2. If it's going to be 80,000 to 120,000 square feet, that's going to be 4 sleeves plus 3. Okay, pretty simple, pretty easy. Next question, question number 3. This comes from Monique, and she sent this to me in an email. It says, I'm installing a direct buried cable splice next week. Can I use compressed air from my portable air compressor? So first off, let me start off with what is direct buried and what is underground. Underground is when you dig a trench, you put a conduit in that trench or a duct bank system in the trench, and then you cover that up. The cable's inside the conduit. Direct buried means you dig a trench and the cable goes in the hole and then you cover it up. So the cable actually touches the soil. So quite often you will find outside plant cables that are filled with compressed air. Well, not compressed air. Compressed air contains moisture, it contains oil, and it has suspended fine particles, which over a period of time can cause the insulation of the actual conductor to deteriorate and eventually cause opens and grounds and shorts and even cause the resistance imbalances. So you should never use compressed air. You should use one of two things. You should either use a filtered dried compressed air, which you can get from Aircore outside plant. Very good, Denton. Yes. You should be using filtered dried compressed air, which you can typically pick up from your local welder store. But the best option for outside plant is nitrogen. Nitrogen. Now, nitrogen is best because it's anhydrous. Anhydrous means it's free of water. As a matter of fact, that is the Bixby best practice recommendation, is to use nitrogen. Now, I will tell you this. When you get done doing that, or actually before you finish the project, you want to make sure that you do your flash test on that enclosure, right? Make sure that it's not leaking out of any of the gaskets or the grommets, right? Make sure everything's sealed, and then do that. Okay, question number 4. This comes from Harry. It says, help me settle a debate. What is the smallest size conductor available in American wire gauge? You know, I think the smallest that I'm aware of is 36 AWG, 36 AUG, right? Or 5 mil. Conversely, the largest is 4/0, right? 1 mil is equal to 0.0254. I've got this on my notes right here, 0.0254. And that's kind of what it goes up to. So, but most horizontal cabling typically is going to range between 22 and 24 gauge. Most of them are going to be placed in the 23 to the 24 gauge range. Okay, there you go. All righty, let's switch over to the comments that we got during the answering those questions. Where are my blind man glasses? Here they are, way over here. All righty, so let's look at some of the questions. All righty, so it was there. All righty, demarcation point, fiber demarcation, floor distributor, yep. YouTube's a little behind. Yeah, Splice Trailer answered that already. TJ is in the house. Hey, TJ, how you doing, my friend? Man, I love your barbecue stuff that you put out there sometimes. Let me see. Ed, the old tech guy's chiming in here. He says, I ask for shares in the company. I care. Mine are own part of. Oh, absolutely. It's a great way of doing it. I used to work for a company that did that. If you were there for, I think, 5 years, you could get a part ownership in the company. Michael says he does a weekly mentoring program at no cost for the apprentice technicians. Something I am passing along for my mentor. Great. Absolutely great idea. I always challenge, because I do my RCDD study groups, and I always challenge my people in my groups when they get their RCDD, how are you going to pay this forward? How are you going to pay this forward? Are you going to participate in a group that helps write one of the manuals? Are you going to participate in a study group? Are you going to participate in a mentoring group? Always, always, always pay it forward. Always. All right. All righty. We are at 6:31. Nobody answered my question. So next week and the week after that, technically they're holidays. Do you want me to put up a repost of one of my earlier episodes? One will be like, what is a trunk slammer? Not sure what the other one's going to be. Let me know if you want me to do that. If not, I'll just take it off, because I'm not going to be available to do the live streams over the next 2 days. So, and if you think about it, just put it in the comments below. I appreciate everybody stopping by today. Michael, you're a great guy to come by. TJ, glad to see you again, my friend. Ed, the old tech guy. Bill Lands. Oh, what's this? The CEC is revised every 3 years, and the latest is the 2021. Absolutely. I think we covered that already. Henry Yates, always glad to see you. Can't wait for you to come back down to Tampa, my friend. All righty. That's all I have, unless anybody else had anything else to say. No? Okay. Until next time, remember, knowledge is power.